Welcome to the Arcaro Insights podcast, where we help B2B executives deliver better results with the latest ideas in change and innovation for your organization. The episodes feature fascinating discussions with interesting people who have a great story to tell, as well as our original content communicated with AI voices. If you can, please read the show notes to get the most from each episode. Thank you for listening. We hope you enjoy it. Welcome to Arcaro Insights. I'm your host, Mark Blackwell, and today we're exploring the front lines of the global food system transition with a leader who's redefining the role of corporate sustainability. Joining us today, we have Juan Aguiriano, Group Head of Sustainability at Kerry. Juan was the lead architect of Kerry's Beyond the Horizon strategy, and today he is steering the company's evolution into what they call an impact company. In this episode, we're going to move beyond the old view of sustainability as a compliance obligation or reporting cost, and instead look at a case study which has shown how sustainability has become the central engine for business growth, innovation, and market opportunity. We'll dive into Kerry's mission to reach over 2 billion people with sustainable nutrition by 2030, and how they're solving the and equation, making food healthy, affordable, and tasty, and sustainability all at once. Juan, it's a pleasure to have you on the show.
Good morning, Mark. The pleasure is mine. Thank you for...
I know it's a great story. Now, we started, you've got some results, but I'm sure you're only midway through the journey and there's a lot more to come, and it's going to be a fascinating story for our listeners. So Kerry has become, from its roots, and maybe you can mention its roots, over its 50-year history, where it's been and how there was a major strategic pivot around 7 years ago as a food ingredients company. Can you take us through that shift and how it accelerated Kerry's journey to becoming an impact company?
Yes, Mark, I will try. And again, it's my pleasure to be here today, and I'm just going to be trying to tell the story of our 22,000 colleagues here. So Kerry, as a history, was born as a dairy cooperative a long time back in the 70s, more than 50 years ago, but evolved into a global player in taste and nutrition ingredients and solutions over the years. When a new CEO came on board in 2018, I believe, we looked at the state of the union, if you want. The CEO comes, it's a good time to look at, where is the company? What's the strategy? What's the purpose of the company? And the state of the union, as you would look at what was happening in the food industry at that time, was a little bit dire. And the diagnostic was, you had about 2 billion people that eat food but have overweight issues or even obesity issues. You had close to 1 billion people that went to bed undernourished or famished. The food industry at the same time was wasting 30% of the food that is produced. The system is responsible for roughly 1/3 of global emissions, 2/3 of water consumption, and a lot of biodiversity loss. So, and I could add to the list of statistics, but basically food, when it's good, provides good nutrition. Good nutrition is good for health, and that's good for a good life. But we had the reverse. A lot of nutrition food that was not very healthy, wasn't providing nutrition, therefore not a very healthy life. When we looked at that equation, we said, well, we don't really want to be part of that problem. We want to be part of the solution. And we were already doing a lot of things implicitly. But when you turn that explicitly into a decision, a choice, you have a strategy. So that's how it started. And then you go to the foundation, and the foundation is always going to be the culture of the company. So we went around the world. We talked to tens of thousands of our employees in workshops, in discussions. Basically, why do we exist? What's our purpose here? And out of that came a simple but very powerful statement around inspiring food, nourishing life. if you boil it down, inspiring food is all about innovation, and nourishing life is all about sustainability or impact or positive impact. Positive impact, which is better for people, better for planet, and better for society. So out of that purpose, then very naturally came the next question. So this is why we're here. So what are we supposed to do? Well, we thought that the world does not have a very good system of that creates sustainable nutrition, as we talked about. We want to contribute to create a world of sustainable nutrition. So, okay, by when? Okay, this is not so easy. This is very ambitious. Well, let's give ourselves 10 years. But that doesn't mean you wait 10 years. You get started and you start working on that. Well, let's be serious here in terms of impact. Can we measure ourselves? Okay, that was a little bit more challenging, right? At the beginning, it was words on a page and you mobilize people and you start talking. But can we walk the talk now? So how many people were we reaching then? So we used a methodology. We even got that methodology certified. We wrote a white paper on that. But basically, we were reaching 1 billion people through our customers, through the solutions that we sell to our customers that then prepare food and beverage and sell it, right? That can be through retail channels, food service channels, multiple channels. And we said, okay, we want to reach 2 billion people by 2030. So doubling that, but it shouldn't be any ingredients. It needs to be ingredients that have a sustainable nutrition impact. Thus, we wrote the white paper around how we were going to measure that. It's based on a nutritional system. We looked at the 22,000 ingredients in the portfolio, and we said, okay, we need to have more than 80% of our portfolio needs to contribute to positive and balanced nutrition according to nutritional system. And we looked at that around the world. We chose the best nutritional system we thought that provided the best method, adapted for ingredients, and we set that goal, right? Why these details? Well, it's just to show you that everything we're trying to do with sustainability is rooted in the science of taste, the science of nutrition, the science of the environment, and obviously it needs to be financially the science of economics, because if it's not affordable, it won't work, right? So we said we defined sustainable nutrition and we created what is called a sustainable nutrition spectrum, which I will talk about more. And it was all about making things better. You can't do perfection immediately.
Yeah.
For perfection, call me tomorrow. I'll try better today. And so we said, okay, we're going to have to improve the products we have as is, the way we buy them, the way we manufacture them, also the way we formulate solutions with our customers. But we're also going to have to change the portfolio in some cases, redefine it. We're going to have to maybe divest parts of it. Maybe we're going to have to invest parts of it. And all of that in order to create better food, better beverages that have a better nutritional and environmental impact. So that was how the strategy was born. And I can give you a lot more details on that. But that was the genesis of that.
That's fascinating. It's the last bit that particularly piqued my interest, because traditionally people think of sustainability, or maybe many people do, as sort of a form-filling exercise. And as you said earlier on, you were doing a lot of it and it was just tidying up and communicating what you were doing. But towards the end of what you just said, you were hinting that actually, instead of just reporting what you were doing and improving, it started making some strategic decisions in your business about portfolio. Can you give us some more detail about what that meant at boardroom level, about things that you decided to invest in and not invest in? And this is real stuff.
Right. No, you're right. And there are a number of strong fundamental beliefs underlying this strategy. One is it is possible to do good while you do well, right? So we have shareholders also. This is for the planet, this is for society, it also has to be for our customers. And the result is, we believe, is better value for our shareholders. So the board discussion was, okay, we understand the ambition to reach 2 billion people with sustainable nutrition, but what does it mean in terms of investment and impact you have to do? So we looked at 5 key themes. One, we have talked about that, nutrition and health. So better products that drive that. First impact. Second, climate. Okay, can we source 70%, like most companies, 70 to 80% of our footprint is in the products that we buy, commodities we buy to build our ingredients. So can we work on the value chain to reduce the climate impact and the nature impact, right? Yes. And can we commit to what is called science-based targets, etc.? So to do that, you have to do an exercise, which is an assessment. You have to basically develop abatement curves, and we publish that in what is called a climate transition plan, right? The next topic is, we talked about food waste, circular. Okay, can you reduce food waste and can you reduce the packaging? We're not very big users of packaging, but these are 2-3 key topics in circular economy. So what can you do to reduce the food waste? And again, we committed to a goal to reduce 50% our food waste in our operations. Get started with that. And then what else can we do in the value chain? I'll come back to that later. The next topic was then responsible sourcing and interventions in the value chain. So what are you going to do there? Not only reduce the impact that you have in your operations, but also working upstream with the value chain. And so this is about no deforestation, regenerative agriculture, and a number of other, I will call them, interventions in the value chain, particularly in commodities that are high risk, are impacted by climate, by biodiversity loss, by water issues, right? So we identified a number of commodities that represent the vast majority of our risks. And then last but not least, the people side, social impact. Okay. We need to make sure that everywhere that we buy, human rights are respected, foundations of human rights are there, people have a decent job with a decent paid, no abuse of their rights, etc. Easy said, quite difficult to do considering the number of commodities we buy. It's in the tens of thousands, and the countries where we buy them. So fundamentally, the board wanted to understand, okay, in the strategy, these are the 5 big impact areas. How much? How fast, how big, or if you want the other way around. So how big is your ambition? How fast you want to get there? How much are we going to have to invest, right? And in reality, the business case, the board was very supportive because it made a business case to go there and become more sustainable. In a way, and I'm not going to describe the long business case, the biggest risk is, imagine being a not sustainable company. Mm-hmm. So when you look at it, like, what is the risk of non-sustainability? It's massive. It's big. As many companies have seen that in the past, right? If you're not a sustainable business, you don't have a business in reality. And when you realize that, insurance companies are seeing that very big, right? And we were ahead of the curve, but I think the numbers are roughly, insurances by then, and we looked at that, we're already paying something like 70 or 80 billion due to fires, weather issues, etc. globally in claims. Mm-hmm. Then that number has gone up 5x now. And that does not consider the fact that insurances are not ready to insure houses in California, for instance, for fires. Due to the too big the risk, and they're not really ready to underwrite that. So the risk were there. You had to look at it and then build a business case. Now, trust me, Kerry is a company they are farmers originally, very originally, not anymore. But they were all trained then as certified accountants. It was part of the graduate program they put, very clairvoyant, very early on. So very, very good people in finance. So when you look at the financial risks of non-sustainability, they're massive.
Yeah. So I think listeners will be beginning to pick it up. The complexity of managing your sustainability from your sourcing in food and obviously agriculture is immense. If you put it into context, if you're a mining company, you just know the stuff you're getting out of the ground. It's relatively simple value chains. Chemicals companies just have an identifiable single-digit, maybe double-digit number of key suppliers. You pointed out, what did you say, 22,000 different materials coming in or something like that? That's hugely complex.
Yeah, I mean, this is a rounded number. It might be, it's actually not even accurate. But it gives you an idea of the magnitude of what we have at play. Now, having said that, Pareto applies, right? A more limited number in the dozens, it represents the majority of the risks, the issues we talked about in terms of impact, right? Yeah. So we started focusing on that, and because we are originally a dairy company, we still use dairy quite a lot into the formulation of our products, the development of our products. So we started with dairy in a place that we knew, Ireland, right? And we worked with the Irish government and we worked with 3,000 farmers to create a program called Evolve. And so it's better agriculture, basically, to produce dairy, milk, that has a lower carbon footprint, but it also helps manage the water, the nutrients in the ground, better for animal welfare, and better for the farm's economics as well, right? So it looks, and biodiversity, etc. It has multiple indicators. We created that program with our colleagues in Kerry Dairy Ireland. That is a business unit of Kerry at that time. And that program developed over 5 years. I must say that it went extremely well. We got a lot of engagement with the 3,000 farmers. That all impact is measured independently by what is called the Sustainable Dairy Assurance Scheme in Ireland, managed by Bord Bia. It's based on science, managed by Teagasc, which is another scientific agency of the Irish government, or semi-public. These are different types of setups. Let's say they are official. The result of that is that KDI, Kerry Dairy Ireland, has been recognized as the first company in the world, the first dairy company in the world, to reach what is called the stage 5 in the Sustainable Dairy Framework from the Sustainable Agricultural Initiative. Basically, it's an organization where all the largest dairy producers in the world are present and gives recommendations on how to produce more sustainable dairy. And you have stages of maturity, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Kerry Dairy Ireland was the first one to reach that stage, and I think it's still the only one there at this stage. So we now, and we joke, but it's not really a joke, you can go to Kerry County in the west of Ireland now. It's very confusing, right? The county is called Kerry, the company is called Kerry, anyway. And you can discuss with the farmers, and they will tell you, oh, I have 0.83 kilos of CO2 per liter of milk, fat and protein modified. And they know. They measured, they know. And to the point that now Kerry Dairy Ireland is selling its milk, not only on the milk quality, etc., but also on the carbon content. Right. So creating here, it's a small example. Well, small. Yeah. It's not that small. And we're talking more than 1 billion liters of milk produced in that west part of Ireland every year. But it's sustainable milk that has a market. So it's better for the environment. It's better for the planet. It's better for Ireland. It's better for the farmers. It's also better for the customers, that by buying that milk, by the way, we don't sell milk. We then convert it into ingredients, dairy ingredients, high-value ingredients that goes into all kinds of applications. But let's say the milk equivalent that is bought by these customers has them to meet their own sustainability goals. Fortunately or unfortunately, Kerry Dairy Ireland was then divested back to the farmers. It's a very nice story. They bought back that part of the company end of 2024. And they're continuing to do that and continuing to invest and continuing to thrive. And they're doing very, very well. And they have the ambition to become the most sustainable dairy company in the world, which to a large extent, they're already there. So that's a beautiful story of something we did and then divested. We also invested in other companies, right? We bought food preservation and protection ingredients solutions company. Why? Because by doing that, we can extend the shelf life of products through natural solutions, fermentation-based, biotechnology, and extending the shelf life is the most cost-effective way to reduce food waste. Now, in food waste is everything. Again, you go back. It's the resources, the land, the commodity, the work that goes into that. You avoid saving that. And so this is a solution which is cents to the dollar. You put a little bit, 1 cent, 2 cents in a product, and then you save dollars and euros full. So that's another example of investment with a payback, right? You invest into sustainability and you can get a payback into market growth, market share, revenue growth, shareholder value.
Yeah. Now, that's a great story about the dairy company. I mean, agriculture and food, but agriculture especially has been close to my business life in various guises. And I've seen a common thread. The problem of farmers, they have big impact, whether it's animal welfare, food safety, sustainability. They have a major stake in influencing the outcome, but all too often are small and fragmented, and other players in the value chain maybe take advantage of that opportunity so that the farmers don't benefit as much as they should. And so, I think you told a great story about how you've worked with the Evolve program to make sure that the farmers do benefit. But the other partner I suppose it may be particularly challenging for where food ingredients sit in is the consumer. How does the consumer get sense of all the great work that you and your colleagues have been doing?
Look, we don't sell directly to the consumer. We sell to our customers, big brands, smaller brands, regional brands, startups that then sell, retailers that sell through private label or etc., that sell to their consumers. So our job is we do three things, right? We reduce as much as possible through our solutions the impact of the products. We reformulate. So we reformulate for less chemical products, replacing artificial or chemical ingredients with nature-based ingredients. That's the first thing we do. We reduce sugar, salt, and fat because they are fundamental for life, but too much of it is bad for your health. Yep. So we help customers reduce sugar, salt, and fat in the formulas and the products that they eat. And you do that while maintaining taste. And that's the difficult taste and structure and function, etc. So you always have to do this magic formula. Improve the taste or maintain the taste. Improve the nutritional value of the food, reduce the environmental value, and keep it affordable and convenient, right? And that is an optimization under constraint. So the first thing is a better reformulation. If it's not possible, innovation. Okay, how do you innovate to bring new technologies that have an inherent lower impact? And a lot of this is going to be based in biotechnology, enzymes, fermentation, etc. You really try to create products that are naturally healthy. So think of how science would help your grandmother to cook better, right? So it has to be super tasty, but you do that at scale for billions of people. Yeah. And you use biotechnology to do that. The third thing that you do is you try to help customers that do not always have a balanced diet. Hopefully, everybody would eat a Mediterranean diet. This is not the case. People are busy. They don't eat at home. They don't cook from scratch. More than half the meals in the world are eaten outside the home. Mm-hmm. So basically what you do is people don't always have balanced diets, but they have goals in their lifestyle. So for people who are children or healthy aging like me, supposedly, etc., I'm not eating enough protein, or I'm not eating enough fiber, or I want to have a better health through a better microbiome. So I will use more probiotics, prebiotics, postbiotics. I have some stress. I want to have better cognitive health, etc. So this is either through supplements, botanical extracts, biotics, etc. That means omega-3s, etc. There's a long list of things that are ingredients with validated health claim through science that you can take through supplements, or you can put them into food, right? And so that's basically what we're doing. We call that proactive health. And this is where the world of supplements and food is merging. Now you go to an aisle in the supermarket, even, yogurt aisle or beverage aisle, and you will find these turbocharged yogurts, right? That says that have more proteins, more fibers, more prebiotics, etc. Busy life, not enough time, I need help. What can I eat which is healthy? And so the communication of that on pack is challenging, right? So the marketing and the science of explaining that, grounded on solid science, grounded on solid facts versus non-science and fake facts, which abound in life, is what we help our customers with. So we always provide them with very strong fact-based, science-based information that they can use in a verified way to explain that better to the consumers. Now, you have to put on top of that another science, which is the regulatory science, what you can say and what you cannot say. And that is a very healthy debate which is happening in the industry, which we don't have to go, and we don't have the time to go into today, but it's how much information and how can you give that information to the consumers. So we always use the precautionary approach, which is, okay, let's ground everything into, as I said, science and facts that we can prove and help our customers to do the right thing. Now, we also have created, it's not for the consumer, but for the larger community of science, etc., we have created Kerry Health and Nutrition Institute, which is a scientific think tank where we bring scientists to discuss together through webinars, white papers. We publish a lot, discuss the science of good nutrition and good sustainable nutrition. And so it's free. Everybody can go there, listen to it, learn from it, and make its own opinion based on good science. And you've heard me probably said the word science 5 or 10 times in my podcast.
Yeah.
Basically, and that's my personal view on that. The only way we can progress this in a rational way is basically go back to the foundations, do our homework, stop having opinions about everything, and just listen to the people that are doing a good job at the scientific level.
Thanks, Juan. So we're closing it. We're now rapidly moving through 2026. 2030 is approaching fast. What have we got to look forward to in the next couple of years?
Well, we relooked at the strategy at midterm, at half time. I know you like football, Mark. I do think so. We are everybody. We published our annual report, the results for sustainability. We've made massive progress. It's not only us saying that, we now recognize externally by a number of different bodies, CDP, EcoVadis, financial rating agencies, etc., for the people who are familiar with those. So we really moved to the top 5% of companies in the food system out there. And it's great. But yeah, as you said, this is just the beginning, right? So the food system, the risks are, if anything, have accelerated. Despite the political noise out there, the physical risks are bigger. We need to continue creating impact. So we've expanded our commitments into nature and biodiversity and water and trying to accelerate progress there. I think I'm a realistic optimist, right? It's important to keep going, progress versus perfection. It's important to stay energetic, to stay passionate. The challenges are massive, but the great thing is that for us, it's become integrated in the way we work. Everybody, I'm not alone here. It used to be a very small team. Now everybody in the company is doing, I was the other day, we have councils around the company where people discuss that. I was just listening to the council. I didn't have to talk. People were presenting circular economy projects where they're upcycling waste streams. There's no waste anymore. Everything is a product in the making, waiting to be converted into something useful. And that's the mindset, right? When you start getting people thinking like that, you know you're winning. Now, it's about scalability. It's about going faster, going bigger, going broader, working more with our customer, co-creating products with them. But that's the way we're looking at it. It's not only in our operations, it's upstream with our suppliers, downstream with our customers. It's all about collaboration, innovation for impact. And now it's about making this really big commercially, right? So can we become the influencer of sustainable nutrition? I think we're on the way in the industry and leading the industry to transform as fast as possible. That's the next 5 years. We're already, if you want, we're at the beginning of that. I would say 10, 15, 20%. We still have to do the majority of it. But it's very exciting, actually. Very exciting times.
Well, I share your energy. I can feel it coming through the airways. So it's been a fabulous conversation, very motivating to see how you've taken these challenges and done something not just great for the world, but make a successful business out of it. Well done. So if anyone else is also inspired, where can they learn more about what Kerry is doing in sustainable nutrition?
Well, Kerry.com, we publish everything. So our annual report would be a good place to start. We are regulated by the European Union. We're a European Union listed company. So we are regulated by what is called CSRD, Corporate Sustainability Reporting Directive. So we publish our annual report, and it has a sustainability statement in it where everything is explained and described. We also have on Kerry.com, you have examples of solutions that provide impact. And we try to now use digital platforms to calculate that impact and make it visible to all our customers. And so that is, maybe I should have mentioned that. Any speech today that doesn't mention digital or AI is probably not credible. So we are investing a lot into turning that science and all these facts into digital information that we can channel and accelerate, right? So I think one of the turbos in the system for that acceleration is definitely going to be digital. So we have a number of start going on online, and you can find some of these tools. You can Google, for instance, the Kerry food waste estimator, and you can go there and you can put, for a consumer, you can put there your own consumption, and you can put how much, you will see what's your impact on food waste of your own consumption. I encourage you, Mark, to go there and try it. You'll see it's fun and easy to use.
I'm looking forward to go and give that a try. Juan, thank you so much. Really, it's wide-ranging, very powerful 30 minutes or so. Really enjoyed your company. Great to see you again. Thank you.
Well, thanks, Mark. Thanks a lot. It was enjoyable for me. I hope people will think the same.
Thank you very much. And for our listeners out there, if you'd like more executive insights into the agriculture, food and chemicals sectors, have a look at our website, arcaro.com. That's ARKARO.com. Or find your favourite podcast provider and just search for Arcaro Insights. We'll see you in the next episode. Thank you. Thank you for listening to the Arcaro Insights podcast. We hope you enjoyed it as much as we enjoyed producing it for you. If you have not done so already, please do subscribe with your favorite podcast provider. Even better, it would be hugely appreciated if you could share the podcast with friends and colleagues. Thank you.